And welcome back. We're here in Tashkent, Uzbekistan. It's a very special time that we present to you the Forum Week, if you will, mix of colors and emotions for a film festival at the Tashkent International Film Festival. My very special guest is a visionary, very talented, very politically oriented young lady. I call her the Princess of Uzbekistan, if you will. Pleasure to be with you tonight.
Thank you.
When you first had a vision to start a film festival, but much more than that, one that encompasses jewelry, fashion, culture, promoting all the things that the war hero, which is Amir Tumur, when did all this start? When did it really set into your heart to do this?
Well, first of all, I want to thank you for all the nice words you said about me. It's visionary. I don't really see myself as a visionary for, let's say, decades ahead of us. It's just a project, one of my projects, which we started with a very good and very young team. Then it was 6 years ago, and this project actually came out from many of our previous projects which we have with youth. This is one of the competition which we have for kids from 5 to 12 years old. Through 9 years we have more than 55,000 kids, talented kids, which went through this contest. Then we have another contest which is much more professional for young guys and girls from 19 to 25 years old. This is mostly college graduates and school graduates who are about to start their professional life. So it's in 6 professional directions, and obviously this build up the base for the project we started as we call it, Art Week. Why it's an Art Week? Because it's more than a fashion week. It's a bit different from the standards we get used to see it in other countries. It's about fashion. We have few days of fashion shows coming from all over around the world, from Japan, China. One of the famous houses of Europe were visiting us through the 6 years, US and Russia. We have a few days which is completely into theaters. So we have a festival of theaters. We have visiting theaters from this year, it was 12 countries. And usually all the theaters around the capital, Tashkent, are involved. So they give the base sort of platform to perform for all regional theaters and from the countries we have guests from. And it's very well prepared because most of them are premieres or just news for the season, let's say. And then we have a movie festival for last 2 years. We call it still a movie forum, which is also about to build the base for a movie festival. This year it's 45 countries participating with their movies, and only 11 went through the jury to be in final, sort of to find the nominees for the festival. And then we have also a lot of master classes, which is, I think, our know-how. And I'm very proud to say that most of professionals and really masters like Kenzo and producers from all around the world giving their master classes for our youngsters. Usually it's around 2 hours, and sometimes if it's not enough of one masterclass. All our guests are being very polite. They do have two. This year we had a few people who were kind of moved to give, motivated with all the young people around to give 2 master classes. Then we have 6 professional conferences this year, and this is also in regards to movie, culture, art, architecture. We have one project which is related to the architectural ensembles which have different kind of Islamic science on, and it's still been a mystery, some of them. So we started this project a few years ago, and we kind of reading it through, and we have, like for example, for Samarkand, we have 2 volumes of this book. For Bukhara, it's even bigger. So different cities are joining sort of one library, and it's a lot of professionals involved in this project. Some of them theologists, some of them from our Academy of Science, and some of them are Islamic specialists from other countries. So this is like, in general, to give understanding what our art week is about.
As you may know, the Uzbek Association and myself invited Mark Dacascos and, of course, Tom Hallick, my friend for 13 years, to come and do the master class. And it was quite exciting. When you get a chance, you'll see the tapes. And the kids were so energetic to see Mark and his martial arts and the truth of how to get into the business of film.
This is what's really important, to hear it from the people who really got it, and they spent so much in their life to be able to build their career. And I think for our young kids it's very important to see and be motivated with the story. This is exact example which I always like to see in this art week.
When you use the term mix of dreams, colors, and emotions, isn't that what film's all about anyway?
I guess every artistic person reads it and translates it in their own sort of visionary. It's also sort of a freedom to be able to express yourself.
You have a book of poems. I know you're a gentle soul. I feel it because I read some of your poems. Are the poems about your life in general?
I usually get used to say that it's more of my thoughts which are being said loudly, and some of them are being lost because it's been written on the piece of papers whenever I see it somewhere, on napkin maybe, and some of my friends being kind enough to put it together for me as a book.
I'm going to read something that it's very beautiful. Then you can express yourself. Tell me what this means. Fragmented dreams and glistering desires are scattered like a mirage of ocean drops, so different, with numerous shortcomings, unreachable up there at heaven's shore. Our life is ruled by accidents and chances, and common sense cannot befriend your ways. Your stars have constancy and shine. They know the answers. And that is why they are so far away. They spread their light to raise your expectations and melt away, incidentally, at dawn. They blanket you, but give no explanation. What is in store? Upswing or downfall?
Wow, as I see you pick one of the very emotional sort of thoughts, as I said, because I believe that poetry is written in the moment and by the moment, and everybody who reads, they sort of observe this moment the way they could feel, and this is exactly about up to capacity of a person, up to the possibility how you see it, how you translate it, and how you feel it. Because some of my friends who read these short poems, they read it once, they read it twice, and sometimes after a few times, and maybe after a year or so, they could come back and say, well, I see something else there. And some of them could say it 2-3 times, and it's with each year of our life, I think you being able to open it more and more. And I'm really happy that these kind of emotions could be called with these poems. Actually, I started to write, and once I was told that it's very much similar to Sufi's poems, which are written in the way that there are so many transcriptions about what exactly is written in it. And then I didn't know what Sufis are about, and I started to study and read more and research. And some of them, like Jalaluddin Rumi, who are very famous now more and more in the West, that I think they are very close to my heart, and I found there's so much very similar, a lot of similarities, and actually I was proud enough that these poems are not that easy to read, because it's easy on the way, but at the same time you have to have feelings to be able to read it. And thank you very much, you picked a very intense one.
You're welcome. You have a new CD out. It hit number 5 on the charts, the one song called Round Run. Tell us about what the meaning of that is, and then perhaps some of the other messages in your songs on that CD, which is called Goosh. Goosha.
Yeah, well, actually, Googoosha is my nick from my grandfather, and I before it was sort of published with the picture, it was very much a mystery of who's singing. So I preferred to keep it this way, but now it's more and more opening up for the public, and I just left the name, and the producing company also said that it might keep also a bit of a mystery about the songs which are in this album. And songs are strictly autobiographical, and these sort of collections of different stories or different feelings about my life and what I felt in different point of my life. And it was written with a very good, brilliant composer, Max Fadeev, who was also involved in arrangements of album of Enigma. And his music is very passionate and very much intense sometimes, and it combines trip hop and a bit of lyrics and sort of British pop, and we were free to do whatever we kind of felt like, and he actually we started from the point when he said, I will draw your picture, and as any talented artist, he drew it's in the music, and this was a song which calls The Battle of Life, and this is how we start. We started from the song, and I said, okay, if you draw my picture, let me draw myself to the limit I know about myself. So I wrote the lyrics, and we collaborate. And then I was also very keen to make arrangements for the album. So I put in the album a lot of national instruments. And you could feel the East through the music. You could really sense the Eastern traditions, but it's not as heavy as in many ethnic albums. That's why some professionals, critics with whom I had opportunity to talk, they say you could really feel a bit of a different flavor, but it's not sort of, smashing you with the different colors. And so you feel into it, and once you listen to lyrics, you kind of going from story to story, and it's a bit like our ancient cities, like Bukhara, and that's why our first video was made in Bukhara.
I enjoyed the young man running, and right at the end, he found you, and there you are, and there he is. It's beautiful.
Well, it was a story, and it was a story about people who are sometimes very much into their run in life and into their move, and we all are so busy. We are dramatically exhausted from our all the routine in from day to day work and problems and everything. And the story is about ability and the sense in life to hear the sound of life, to be able to hear the real ways in your soul, and to be able to open up the sky. So this is a bit of also mystery in the song. But White Shadow, DJ White Shadow, who did the mix of this song, I think he mixed the most interesting parts of the song and make it very sort of intense, and it's give a bit of a different picture. So that's why I guess we were able to get into chart of hot dance hits by version of Billboard.
Exactly. Yet there's a message there. I've talked to many people, and when I first met you, I told you that I thought you'd be the Princess of Uzbekistan, meaning like Princess Diana was to Great Britain. And I see that you, as I mentioned, have a very good soul and care about people, and that's very important. And if there was a possibility, which through my vision, that perhaps you're very good for Uzbekistan, and with your mind and what you do, I see a time that you would be president. What are your feelings about that?
Well, I guess you said yourself about the princess, and this is funny because some of the sort of opponents, they say it with a sense of sort of critique that she's used to use the name of, she's being called princess. And some of the people who are seeing good in our work of our foundation, or the team I'm working with and the projects we are doing, they also say and use the same word, princess. And sometimes this gives me a bit of a laugh and very strange feeling, because both sides are very much similar, and the word you use and the idea you put into this name is very kind of very much striking for me, because I'm not trying to do it for sort of career or for PR, which well, it's not a secret. In many countries, people try to build sort of a base and a core platform to build a PR around and to have a nice picture, sort of. I started the work with the foundation when I was working in Moscow for embassy, Uzbek embassy there, and I spent there a few years. And this was a very critique and important moment for me, because I went through divorce and I was about to kind of build my own new life, and with my kids, 2 kids, I have a son and a daughter. And there was a lot of critiques about how we handle the process and why and what about and how I should follow it with the kids. The story was mostly about the divorce, and story was built mostly from the words of the people who were watching it from outside, from outsiders, and the people who were trying to put this picture into anything just to kind of smooth it through with negative and criticize the position of a mother who felt that kids have rights to stay at home and go to the school they get used to, stay in the house which they get used to, and not being taken from one sort of environment to all sudden to another. And if you could imagine how critical this moment was for a mother of 2, then kids 9 and 3 accordingly, you could probably think that this is the moment when you decide what you want to do in your life. You might choose become cranky and sort of hide from all the reality and find your own shelter, and you probably will agree with me that this shelter could have been Uzbekistan, and I probably would be able to lead a very comfortable and very happy life here. But at the same time, there was another opportunity when I said to myself, let me see who I am, and let me see what it's about, and even all these critical things, just to take it through and to see if this is the reality, let me face the reality. If this is not true, let me try what I really can do. And I thought the art is very close to my heart, and it's always been. I went to FIT, to the design of accessory and jewelry design. And later on, I had the opportunity to study, to paint and to do photography, and also do some music, classical vocals. So through all these, I found a lot of friends, and most of them were artists. So I decided to build the base and to start to talk and to start to give the message that art is something which could put people together, no matter what and no matter where and no matter in what circumstances you are. So we started with the first exhibition, and it was in Moscow, and we actually registered our foundation first, and there with it was a bit of a different name of font. The full name was Fond Forum of Art and Culture of Uzbekistan, and it's been so successful from beginning that we found a lot of people who wanted to get into the process, and it was always that there were sort of a women and kids direction. We started the kids theater. We went around the country with 64 unprofessional young actors from 4 to 16 years old. And then when I had an opportunity to see all these NGOs and women and kids and to see what we can do together, this was a great opportunity when we traveled through the regions and little theaters. And this is a real, what I call collaboration. So we started the Women's Society. And then we went further with NGOs. We started the foundation, which calls Support of Social Initiatives, which is like a pool for international NGOs to come to Uzbekistan and to have an infrastructure to bring their programs into the country, not just in the capital, but in all most remote areas. We went a bit further, and we founded the contest, as I said, for kids and for young professionals. Then we went a bit more further, and we found a new foundation which calls Mehr Nure, which is in translation the light of mercy, which is more in the program for help of different families in the regions which are involved in traditional craft, or sometimes it's women who are just starting business with microcredits and stuff. And we actually start our program of microcredits much before it became very popular outside and in South Pacific, where it was kind of booming 8 years ago. So all these put me in the situation when I got really assured that this is the way I want to go and this is the way I want to lead. And as we have thousands of people around now and around 50 projects, which are not one-day projects, it's all the organizations and projects which live from year to year and all year around. And each project has at least a few tens of people who are just managing it. And then we have hundreds and thousands of volunteers. We probably would not be surviving without our volunteers. This is our moving force. So when all this happened, I realized that I could be sort of the tool or infrastructure or the platform for many people to get together and be able to lead their professional life or their life together. And sometimes we get so surprised that in our sort of under our umbrella we have so many people uniting together, which probably would never be able in one room in the previous life.
That is why I see how good you are for your country. And that is why I asked you, how would you feel if you were president of Uzbekistan?
Well, I probably will not be able to answer this question before I will try it. So I'm comfortable where I am right now, and I'm a person who doesn't really take steps before there is an assurance to be able to do certain project. Like sometimes I have a question, how you come up with this idea, and I say, well, the idea was 2 years ago, but through this years I was being able to chew the material and come up with an idea. So I would say that I probably will prefer to take a step out of step.
Step by step.
By step.
In your childhood, and every single person on the planet goes through this, it's called obstacles. And different people use different forms, whether it be God or motivational, whatever. During your childhood, you had obstacles. And perhaps you even have obstacles today. How do you handle those obstacles?
I think if you don't have obstacles, then you don't really succeed. I'm personally very much thankful to my sort of life, career, whatever you can call it, which had a lot of obstacles on my way, and each obstacle is my real one. I will explain why, because each time you have an obstacle, you have an opportunity to think what is right and what is wrong, where is black and where is white, and you have a moment to decide what's your next step, and you really have a moment to think, do you need this next step or not? And then if you decide, you have another moment to think how you will handle it. And I think this is would be great to bring, we have a proverb which says, what doesn't kill us always makes us stronger. And I absolutely agree that if the obstacle is possible to handle, and this is completely also depend on you, and if you have opportunity to handle it, it definitely will make you stronger. And I think that some people prefer to see someone else's life much more easier than their own, because well, we all like this. We always see that somewhere else is a much warmer and brighter place than the place we're staying right now. I quit doing this long time ago, and I honestly think that, and from my experience meeting a lot of people all around the world, if I see a polished person without an obstacle and always sort of polished and assured what's his next step, and sort of leading the very much correct way, I always question these people. I think the more obstacles you have, the more successful you are.
With that thought in mind, and before we end in our broadcast, I'd be remiss if I didn't mention two things. You've done so much, and so much centered around the arts. Mix of dreams, colors, and emotions, if you will. Do you have any desires, now that I've seen your videos, your music videos, do you have any desires to perhaps act?
Well, I had a few offers in this past movie festival, which we had during Art Week, and this is a very sort of let's say interesting and surprising curve would have been my life if I would say yes. With my busy and hectic life, I think it would be impossible. But I prefer to say, never say no before you be sure. I think it all depends on the material, it all depends on the team, and it all depends on the moment. And being very much into art and all these I do, I think I would love some interesting story to be in.
Saw a movie quite some time ago. It was a great movie. It was about Muhammad. And it was called The Messenger, and it starred Anthony Quinn, who was one of my most favorite people, a man who had heart, he had depth, he had character. I asked him this question one time. If you had the power to change one single thing in the world that we live in today, what would you change?
It's probably would be very much naive, but let me say this, I would erase some borders in between, not geographical, but borders between people, which probably will make us more interfering into and collaborating into each other, and it probably will make our life more peaceful because people might get more understanding to each other.
Gulnara, thank you for speaking with us and taking time. And once again, we thank you for watching. Keep your visions positive, keep positive people around you, and let the light guide you. See you next time.